What's going on, guys? Welcome to another video. This your boy Narik Chase, and we are doing another video on the head-to-head playlist or show or whatever you want to call it. Episode 2, and then this time we're going to talk about the mummies. Like the first one, we're talking about Dracula. I compared 3 Draculas, talked about the best and the worst of them, about the abilities and story and everything. So I'm going to continue that same thing here on the head-to-head with the mummies. And in this one, we are going to be talking about the most recent mummy movies. You know, the one in 1999, the 2001, the 2008, the 2017. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the second episode of Head to Head. In this episode, we are going to be comparing the mummies for the Mummy franchise. The first one is going to be Imhotep from The Mummy and The Mummy Returns, played by Arnold Vosloo. Also, the second one is going to be Emperor Han, that was featured in The Mummy Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, played by Jet Li. And the final one would be Princess Ahmanet, that was featured in the 2017 disaster, The Mummy, played by Sofia Boutella. There's a lot to like, and there's a not to like. So let's go ahead and just get into this. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is the origin story for all 3 of these characters, how they got their ability in the path to becoming the complete badasses that they are in the film. So, Imhotep was a priest from back in the day who was actually getting it in with the main pharaoh's main squeeze. So, for that, and for the fact that he did end up killing the pharaoh, he ended up getting sentenced to this weird curse where they basically cut out your tongue and stuff, throw you in a sarcophagus with a bunch of scarabs in it, and then bury you alive. That's basically what happened to him. And through this curse, that's how he ends up getting his abilities. Now, even though what he did was a pretty big dick move, it was all motivated by love. At least from what I could tell, because he liked this chick named Nefertiti. And Nefertiti that's a fine ass chick. I see why he probably would have done that. Nefertiti was pretty badass. No, not Nefertiti. It was a Nooks in the Moon. Sorry, wrong character. A Nooks in the Moon. I'm just getting his chicks mixed up. He did it for a Nooks in the Moon. This fine ass chick that had him killing the pharaoh and got himself ate up by scarabs and stuff. But anyways, so that was pretty much the bulk of his origin story. And of course, he ends up getting brought back to nowadays. Not nowadays, but during the time featured in the film. In the case of Emperor Han, he was like this badass emperor that was just taking over land, whooping people's ass, just trying to be the big head honcho, which typically what these emperor and royalty guys do, just try to take other people's shit and be assholes because they can. So he ends up coming across this witch who was, I guess, helping him. And instead of the witch digging him, I'm kind of I'm a little bit sketchy on it. I think he liked the witch, or he didn't like the witch or whatever. But I know that his main general guy ended up falling in love with the witch, and he didn't like that. So he had the general guy killed, and then the witch was like, I got something for you. So what she did was she ended up turning him into this fucked up mummy and ended up encasing his whole army in this like mud stuff. Turn them into statues, basically. So that's the gist of his thing. And Princess Ahmanet, she was this princess that was going to be ruler of Egypt at one point, and ended up having a brother, baby brother, due to her daddy's just sleeping around or whatever. So all of the kingdom and power and everything that she was promised, and she was a wee little lass, it's all of a sudden gets transferred to this kid. So she didn't like that too much. So what she basically ended up doing was summoning Set, or whatever that god of death was, whatever the hell this guy was, and she ended up making a pact with him. Hey, give me the powers, let me kill these assholes, and I will marry you, and we'll take over all this shit. So she ended up killing her family, and before she could take over everything and marry this guy or whatever, she ended up getting sealed away herself. So all 3 of these aren't really innocent people. They're pretty bad people. So in terms of that origin story, I think they're all pretty unique. I don't have a problem with any of them. I think they're all pretty interesting, and they do serve for that specific character. So I don't really have a problem with any of their origin stories. I think they're all pretty cool. If you want to go like on a personal level, I guess you could say Imhotep because he was felt a little bit more personal. If it was about power, I guess you could say it's more towards Emperor Han and Ahmanet. But I think they all had pretty cool original origin stories. Although I am kind of like confused with the whole Ahmanet thing because how easily she summoned this guy, and I'm like, okay, it was that damn easy to summon this death god to do this. Shit, more people have probably been doing it. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a movie director, and probably did feed into the reason why the movie was pretty terrible. But as far as the origin story goes, I don't mind. I think they were all pretty cool. The characters themselves, I like Imhotep. He was a pretty cool bad guy, and a lot of it had to do with the acting itself. The character did like some really cool stuff. In fact, all of them are pretty menacing. Me personally, I kind of like Ahmanet better than the other two because I found her to be a little bit more of kind of like the horror personified mummy. Like you get a bit of that with Imhotep's in the first film. Was more like horror based, but I think she nails it. And I do, and all of them, if you really think about it, they all don't have like personality like that. They're all like, okay, we're going on this goal. We're going to kill anybody that gets in our way or defies us or something like that, or fucks up. So it's not like they all have like actual defining characteristics or anything. They're all pretty much assholes. But I do like her. I think she's pretty cool. But if you want to be even and fair about it, I don't really mind the character of any one of them. I actually liked all three of them. Emperor Han was a bit different because when we think of mummies, we think traditionally like people wrapped up in bandages and stuff, but you forget that other nations and stuff had mummies too. They were just a little bit different. So I didn't mind Emperor Han's either. I thought he was a pretty cool character as well. And it's not like they all have like funny moments or anything like that. I think they're all pretty straightforward characters. But I'm not going to say that any one of them was better in terms of the character. I'm not going to go with that. So be fair, I give it to them. All of them get it. In terms of the motivation and goal of each character, again, they're all pretty much assholes. So it's not like they have like the most relatable motivations. Imhotep, what does he want to do? He want to resurrect Anux in the Moon, which is like a love story thing, which is cool. And then he wants to go to take over the world. Now he got all this power. Cool. Emperor Han wants to find and awaken his army so he can go and take over the world. And then you have Ahmanet who wants to resurrect, wants to find this vessel for Set or whatever this god name was, so she can marry the guy and then they can take over the world. So it's not like they got the most diverse of motivations. Because I guess if you want to be fair, if you want to take away the whole take over the world thing, it's basically all three of the motivations. You could say that Imhotep has the most relatable one. Why? Because he wants to resurrect his lost love. So I will go ahead and bump it up for him because of that. So, Mr. Imhotep, you would get that. Now, let's talk about the casting and performances. I don't have a problem with any of them. I think all of them did a fantastic job. I think they all did. You could say that Imhotep was probably the best, but because he's basically the first. And I'm not going to be fair because he was the first one, which he ain't the first. But what do I like about the performance? Like they all fit. And I like Jet Li as an actor. And I found that because he can be serious, and I like him in serious roles. I think that when he becomes a bad guy, he's a fucking awesome bad guy, and he plays Emperor Han, and he's a really cool bad guy. So I don't mind him being in the film. He was actually a pretty good Emperor Han to me, and it was nice and refreshing to see him play a bad guy. Sofia Boutella did a fantastic job with Ahmanet. I liked her performance as the character. I'm not saying that she, was like the award winning or anything, but the character that she did portray was pretty cool. I found her, and I'm weird. I think she was sexy as hell too. I don't know how she was dirty and half dead and fucked up and everything, but in the midst of that, she managed to still be sexy. So, ah, but I think she did a great. I think she did a great performance, a pretty good performance too. If you want, like I said, all of them performance wise, I think they all handled themselves really well. So I can't really. I just say, I just like I said, I can't really be. I don't know what to say in terms of that. But maybe this will be more of an icebreaker. Let's talk about their abilities. Now, and they're pretty diverse. Each one does do different things. In terms of Imhotep, he has shown that he can has increased strength. He has sand manipulation. He can control things of sand. He can actually turn into sand. He can create dust like sandstorms and badass stuff like that. In his initial ghoul form, he absorbs the life force from the people in the room. That when his sarcophagus is opened, the light he needs to drain the life force of the people that were in the room or in the near vicinity when his sarcophagus was open. So that leads to some fucked up things for certain people. So don't open up no sarcophagus or nothing like that around me, because I don't want to get messed up like that. But he does have increased strength. He can control animals and insects and stuff like that. Because in the first film, he kind of did like the biblical plague thing with the locusts and the scarabs, and he can actually control mummies and awake mummies and stuff like that. So and then in the second film, you end up finding out he's actually have a bit more abilities such as telekinesis. He's able to actually manipulate water, and I think it is. I think it is more like towards water, because you haven't seen him do like fire or anything. Because think about it, in the first film, he did the big sandstorm where his face was imprinted in the sandstorm, chasing him in the plane, and then in the second one, you get this big wall of water, and his face is in the water, and he's chasing the blimp. So he has a lot of ability that you would pretty much say he would have, because out of all the mummies, I think he's the most traditional looking one with his abilities. But I think that's kind of I think that's actually counteracted by Ominous, because I liked her abilities as well. She had, of course, increased strength. She could create mummies, and she would kiss, and she absorbed like the life force of people too. And when she kissed them, she just drained the shit out of them, and she actually turned them into mummies. She was able to actually control like rodents and stuff like that as well. She was actually to form sandstorms. Now the difference is, I think her ability came more from the god that she worshipped rather than her actual thing. Because there was one part where she's chasing Tom Cruise and that other chick, and it looked like she's kind of praying a little bit, and then she forms like this huge sandstorm and everything. And of course, it's got her face in it. So she's got some pretty interesting abilities as well. Also, you have Emperor Han. Emperor Han, I believe, probably takes the cake on this because he has the most diverse abilities. He can control all of the elements. Of course, he control his legions of armies or whatever, and also he has the ability to like shapeshift. Because in one moment you see him shapeshift into this like weird Yeti thing, and then you see him shapeshift into this three-headed dragon, which actually was pretty damn cool. Uh, and of course he's got like increased strength and stuff like that. So as much as I like all of their abilities, I will say, and then they each have a bit more abilities to them. I would say Han takes the cake on this because he has the most diverse abilities. Okay. In terms of actual appearance, now in the picture, of course, I got Imhotep. He's almost fully healed, rejuvenated. But at one point, he was just nothing but like a walking husk. And then, because all of them have varying stages to their transformations. But I kind of want to go with Ahmanet on this one because when I watched the film, she actually like had a horror feel to her character, the horror feel to the design, and I think it worked. And it seemed like it was the more. It was seemed like it felt more to like the traditional Universal mummy than either a Han or Imhotep. I liked Han because Han was a different design. Instead of him just being like this dried up husk, he was like a walking statue, and that's pretty cool too. But I think I would go with Aminette on this one because just the overall design. She has the tattoos, the double eyes, the piercings, and when you look at her hands and stuff, like her hands are all fucked up and it's gross. But when she heals all the way, like when they all heal all the way, they all look cool and everything. But I would give it to Aminette on this one because I think out of all of them, I felt more was like on a horror basis. She looked more, she looked cooler to me than the other two. Um, Now, in terms of the weakness, each one of them does have their own like weakness. Of course, with Imhotep, it was the Book of the Dead that he was basically defeated. At least in the first film. Excuse me. The second one, it was he got turned human basically. But we'll go with the Book of the Dead because that sounds more badass. It was either the Book of the Dead or the Book of the Life. I don't know, but it was a book of something. And then when it came to Emperor Han, he had basically get stabbed by this dagger, this magical dagger, and that was they were able to beat him. And also, Imhotep was afraid of cats, and I know that they said in like Egyptian lore, I believe that they said cats were like the gateway to like hell or something like that. So that's why he was scared of them, or at least the one that you see in the damn movie that actually does scare him. Then Aminet was a bit different. Uh, I still don't understand how in the hell like she got beat. I mean, I understand Tom Cruise like absorbed the set guy into his body and then kissed her and took all the powers and shit. And I this one I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I think the Book of the Dead is probably the best one because it's just something about it that just gives it this really edgy, like old school universe, old school mummy type feel. Like if you go back and you go read a mummy novel or something, like that's how they would beat the mummy is like with the Book of the Dead or something like that. So I think I would roll with that one. Imhotep, I'm gonna go ahead and let him get that. And finally, we will go to the supporting characters. Imhotep get this all the way. I'm sorry. Maybe because there was multiple movies. Maybe maybe the characters came from because there was in the multiple movies, or maybe because they even had a spin-off series, the Scorpion King series. But Imhotep definitely takes this. His supporting cast was great. Rick O'Connell and Eve and her son, even the bad guys. What was that big black dude that he ends up playing Killer Croc in the Suicide Squad? I don't know how to say that damn guy's name because I don't because it's really long, hard to say. Well, because I don't know how to say it, but he was pretty cool. And then you had Benny from the first film that was pretty cool as well. Emperor Han, yes, you do get those same characters. You get Rick, you get Eve, you get their son, you get Michelle Yeoh's character and her daughter. So and like they're shared, so that's kind of cool too. They're pretty shared. And honest, and the woman Aminette, her supporting cast, her supporting Tom Cruise killed the movie, so I can't really. And I like the chick. And I like the fact that they had like Jekyll and all of this really cool MIB supernatural organization that this movie fortunately didn't fucking get into enough because they focused so much on damn Tom Cruise. But I think honestly, the one with the best cast would be Imhotep. Uh, and also, this is how good the damn characters were. They even came up with a damn cartoon show. So Imhotep definitely takes the cake on this one. And Imhotep wins. Imhotep takes the lot. I actually like Aminette because I actually like the character. Yeah, the movie was shitty and everything, but I actually like the character. I thought she was fucking badass. And I don't think the woman thing has anything to do with it, even though but I think she was pretty cool. So, guys, in the comment section below, let me know your thoughts. Which one of these mummy characters you think wins on this? Which one had the best personality, the abilities? Just generally, just give me your thoughts in the comment section below. Be sure to hit that like, share, subscribe, and that notification button, guys, to get the best of what's going on this channel. Stay tuned for more videos. Like I said, Sundays, Thursdays, we dropping more videos, more reviews, more top 10s, more character ranker, breaking the base. We're just getting into this, guys. We want you guys to definitely share these videos and enjoy this with us. And we'll definitely catch you guys later to the next video.